What's up everybody, Krista here, welcome back again. So this is a video I've been wanting to do for quite a while now. I actually want to do a whole series of just people doing epic things around the country, and definitely one of those is this man here. Doesn't really need any introduction, Mr. Zak Pole. What's happening, man?
Oh, not too much, just finished up for today, and yeah, had a good little test day down here at Hampton Downs.
So as most of you would have already seen his car, if you haven't you must be living under a rock. So he's built this monster S15 here, pretty much just crazy. So what sort of running gear and power and everything here?
It's a RB28, so it's a stroked RB26. It's actually RB25 block, but it's just a 2.8 litre engine. Running a 4-speed Jericho gearbox. Today we're running around about 740 horsepower at the wheel. Damn! About 20 pound on an EFR 9180 turbo.
Just a casual 700 horsepower.
Just a casual 700, yeah. It's a good amount of power for this little track because it's it doesn't flow too well, but it's really about grip. And today we've been focusing on grip, just trying to get as much grip into it as possible, and it seems to be pretty quick. So it's all the work we put into it's paid off. So I'm pretty happy about today.
So what sort of steering setup and everything are you running? Because obviously it's got serious amount of lock.
Yeah, it's Costal steering, so Costal modular knuckles. So they've actually got a new knuckle kit, which is it's basically plates. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there on my YouTube channel that I've been talking about, but it's new steering for this car, and it's completely transformed the car. So I'm pretty happy with what we've got in it. And today was just proof that that stuff really works. So yeah.
So how come you decided to go with NOS 2? Is it just for like the low end stuff, or?
Yeah, so I mean that engine is super laggy. Without nitrous we don't get full boost of 5,000 RPM. We've got a power band between like 5,000 and 9,300 RPM, so the nitrous brings on the power band all the way down to 3,000, so it gives us a fat power band from 3,000 to just over 9,000 RPM. Loud noises! Without the nitrous it's rubbish, to be honest, that car. In fact, in my last sessions today I was running out of nitrous, and it was hard to drive basically.
So how come you moved away from the R33 chassis that you had before? Because everyone sort of got to know you through the R33 and then obviously gone to the S chassis.
Yeah, the R33 I learned in that car. I learned to build cars and drift, I guess, in that car, and learned a lot of mechanical and suspension, geometry stuff, concepts, I guess. But the car's rough. I had it for 9 years. There's like 4 or 5 versions I went through, a lot of different engines, the whole lot of it. I wanted to build something fresh and just apply all the knowledge that I had taken from that car into something fresh. And also, S15s, I've always wanted an S15, and the chassis themselves are a bit more nimble. They're a shorter wheelbase, they're slightly lighter, and you can do more on them. So, I mean, in some ways, they're kind of like a cheating chassis in terms of competition, but we try to make it a little bit different to everyone else by putting an RB28 in it.
So with this car not actually being too cut up, what are we looking at for weights and everything?
So with me in it at the moment, I've just done a whole lot of weight reduction in it. It's around about 1,390, 1,380 kilo with me in it with full fuel. So that's down from what it used to be, a few months ago, which is about 1,450 with me in it with full fuel. So I wouldn't say it's a light car.
No, it's still a decent. There's a lot of metal there still.
Yeah, there's a lot of steel still on the car. I've tried to keep the steel on the rear of the car just to keep a 50-50 weight balance. The issue with removing too much from the rear of the car, like I learned in my R33, is you get a really nose heavy car, and then it struggles to sit on angle and do backwards entries, and you just can't do a lot of things. So yeah, overall it's not a light car. It's about right for an S chassis, and I guess it has got an RB in the front, doesn't have an SR, so there's a bit more weight in that.
There's a hell of a lot more power too.
Yeah, a lot more power, and I think we're a lot more reliable at those levels of power. I mean, to be fair, there are some people out there doing building some pretty reliable SRs, but RBs tend to handle the sort of 750, 800 horsepower mark pretty easily and pretty reliably, so long as you got the right bits in them.
What about a diff? What sort of ratios and stuff do you usually run?
So it's got a Winters quick change in the rear of it with a 2-piece drive shaft, and it's running a 4.3 diff ratio. So 4.3 is relatively short, I guess, for some people, but it's got 9,300 RPM power band, so So we've got an extra, I mean most people generally rev to 8,000, a little bit over 8,000, we've sort of got another 1,000 RPM plus on top of it, so that kind of gives us a little bit more wheel speed. And when we're at tracks like Pokakawa, we still run a 4.1 in that, because that's all it really needs. Yeah, I mean on the RB30, you know, I'd be doing this track in the 3.9 or sometimes a 4.3, but it's different engine, different power band.
Do you prefer the 2.8 over the 3 litre?
Yeah, that thing's got soul, man. Like to drive that car, you know, the revs, the whole lot of it. It's just when you're driving, it's a complete buzz. The 3 litre was cool too, but it, you know, life and that thing starts at 8,500 RPM. Anything above that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
It's but it does seriously lack the low down torque. You know, it just doesn't have any of it, to be fair. So that's what the nitrous is for.
Yeah, at least one thing it does do is it does sound absolutely insane. It's definitely one of the best sounding RBs out there at the moment, I think.
Yeah, we're trying to, I mean, I've been playing around with that thing to make it sound good for a long time, and it's getting better. I don't think it's just still as, you know, the ultimate RB26 sound for me is the HKS RB26 T51R exhaust manifolds, you know, V-band, single scroll, 1,000 horsepower, old school Japanese turbo, inefficient as, you know, but just the best sounding RB26. I want that sound in this car, but I haven't got it yet, and you know, I think we're sort of limiting it with the turbo that we've got on it. If we put a bigger, sort of more drag turbo on it, because that head is off a 1,400 horsepower drag car, so it wants to rev.
It's got plenty of flow and all that.
It's got plenty of flow, but we're really limiting it even with that turbo. Even though it is quite a big turbo, it's still not, you know, 1,500 RPM turbo.
Yeah, what turbo is it you're running?
It's an EFR 9180, and we run a V-band tile exhaust housing with the 1.02, but we're going to change it to 1.16 soon, and we're going to change the compressor wheel to a Kinugawa compressor wheel, because we're out of flow on that compressor. So we're just going to take that turbo as far as we can, but the likelihood is we're going to change to precision turbo at some point soon.
So will it just be for like reliability, sound, just everything really?
Just yeah, the torque curve on that engine and that turbo sort of falls off at around about 8.5, well, about 8,000 RPM it starts to fall away. By the time it gets to 9,300, it's dying. You know, we shouldn't really be revving that high, but I don't care. I like sound, and I like
that's where it sounds tough.
Yeah, I just like everything about revs. So that turbo is a bit of a mismatch, to be fair, for that engine.
Should be put in a rotary.
Rotary would do it, yeah. But if we put there are turbos that, you know, we know out there like precision 6870s, which will do absolutely amazing things on that. However, we're going to lose a bit of transient response. So to change turbo is quite a tough choice. The EFRs are really, really good in terms of transient response, but if we're talking about sound and talking about revs, then yeah, that thing's probably going to have to go one day.
Oh. No, that's cool, man. Well, thanks for giving us a quick rundown on your car, and been a bit of a pain in the ass, all those questions, but we'll cut to some footage of it slaying up on the track. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love the sound of that car. And Zach is an absolute animal behind the wheel. It's such a rad setup. So cheers for checking this video out, guys. I do want to start doing more videos of just sort of a deeper dive into what people are up to, just doing cool things around the country. So hopefully we'll have a few more coming up, and I'm sure we'll get Zach back on the channel at some point because that car is way too wild to not keep an eye on. So cheers for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.